for the money, Emily. Your salary isn't much, but it's better than nothing. So reluctantly, I carried on with our married life. But once I get those 3 million, I won't need you anymore. I want to live a relaxed life alone. So please, let's part ways. Fine. If you have that much money, you can sell the house. It will cover the mortgage too. John was a bit surprised that I agreed without any resistance. This would mean goodbye to my tiresome life up to now. I slammed some papers onto the table in the living room. My name is Emily. I love children and work as a preschool teacher. I met John, who was 2 years older than me, through a friend's introduction, and we've been married for almost 8 years now. We bought a house, thinking about having children, looking forward to happy days ahead. That's what I thought during our newlywed days. But soon after we got married, John's attitude completely changed. He became more and more obsessed with money. Before we got married, he would tell me my job was wonderful. But then he started saying, "Emily, all you have to do is play with kids. I'm working my ass off here. You've got a good gig. I bet they call people like you a freeloader." Those words soon became his catchphrase. Being a daycare teacher is tough too. Each child has a different personality, and above all, we are entrusted with their lives. There's no such thing as an easy job. But he didn't listen and ignored my complaints. I was so frustrated and upset. The reason we don't have children, even though we've been married for 8 years, is also due to this. He would say, "If you have time to make babies, you should work more. Don't tell me you're planning to quit your job using a baby as an excuse. We have a mortgage and taxes to pay, you know. What are you thinking? Don't ever talk about having kids again." I was yelled at and couldn't say anything back. Sure, John is older and has a career, so his income is higher than mine. But the gap isn't that big. It's only a difference of a few $1,000s. And yet he acts high and mighty every time. I take pride in my job and find fulfillment every day. So being looked down upon for such unjustified reasons was humiliating. John's words pierced my heart, and I often found myself crying quietly alone. Lately, John has been saying he wants to be alone more often. Technically, I could live by myself, but I've been sticking with you out of necessity. Don't forget that. Why does he always belittle me? Perhaps it's because John's been working more overtime lately. It's because you're not working hard enough that I have to work overtime to make ends meet. How about showing a little gratitude? I'd often get blamed like this. But even though he's working overtime, his salary doesn't seem to be increasing. I can tell from carefully checking our finances. His paycheck doesn't change much, does it? Maybe that's what ticked him off, because John got angrier than I've ever seen him before. Who do you think is making this lifestyle possible? If I wanted to, I could easily leave you. Be prepared. He said something that sounded almost like a threat. He wasn't like this before we got married. Since that incident, our conversations as a couple have steadily decreased. Then one day, something happened that pushed me further into despair. During Thanksgiving at John's parents' house, his mother served tea and said, "You two have been married for 8 years now, right, Emily? You used to talk about wanting children soon. Have you decided how many you want, considering your age?" I thought it was the perfect time to discuss it, so I was about to speak up. But then John interjected, "Mom, we're not having kids." Emily and I discussed it and decided. "Oh, is that so?" She mentioned she absolutely hates the idea of dealing with children, whether at work or at home. "What? Wait a minute, what are you saying?" I interjected, taken aback. "Mom, can you please not bring it up so much? It's stressful for Emily too." "No, that's not what John's mother started. "Well, if that's what you two have decided, it's okay to just be the two of you. It's certainly hard work," she concluded, leaving the room before I could say anything more. During the car ride home, I confronted John. "Why would you tell such a lie? I love children and want them, but you keep saying you don't. And it's true we can't afford to have a child because you don't work full-time. Only start talking when you start earning as much as me. I thought preschool teachers earn more." "What a disappointment," I retorted dismissively. "I don't like the way you're saying that. From the beginning, I never disliked children, and I never planned on having them. Children are just a financial burden. I'd rather spend that money on myself," he chuckled callously. His words shocked me. "You should never mix personal matters with work," he continued, shaking his head. Though I knew he was right, I couldn't shake the feeling that this issue was too significant to ignore. Children are sensitive to these things. Later, a girl named Amy from my class approached me. "Miss Emily, what's wrong? You seem less cheerful today." "I'm sorry, Amy. I didn't mean to worry you." "I'm fine," I assured her, patting her head gently. Amy wasn't usually outspoken, but she was remarkably mature and kind for her age. Clearly, she was receiving excellent upbringing. You're not fine. You're usually much more cheerful. I don't want to see Miss Emily like this, she said with concern. Maybe my daddy can help with Miss Emily's problem. He's a superhero and helps lots of people. He's picking me up tomorrow, so I'll tell him, Amy suggested eagerly. Usually, Amy's mother picked her up, but she mentioned her father would be coming tomorrow because her mother was busy. I thanked Amy and reassured her I was fine, although I couldn't help feeling curious about meeting her father again since our first encounter at the school entrance ceremony. The next day, as Amy had said, her father came to pick her up. Thank you for looking after Amy. I'm her father. I've heard a lot about you from my daughter. I really appreciate that she seems to be having a good time. Oh, not at all. We're the ones who should be thanking you. Amy is such a kind girl. He struck me as a very polite person, but I didn't feel like sharing my personal affairs, especially since they were quite embarrassing, topics that weren't easy to discuss. I can tell that Miss Emily is worried about something, so I want you to talk to my dad. Amy's words were kind, but I replied, thank you, Amy. I really appreciate your concern, but I understand how you feel. It can be difficult to confide in someone, even if they're a close acquaintance. However, my daughter is really worried about you. If there's anything going on, please let me help. Surprised, I took the business card from Amy's father and noticed his title. Looking back, I think that was the moment my fate changed. That was when I decided to take revenge on John. As I was preparing for that moment, John suddenly approached me. Hey, how about we get a divorce? It had been a long time since John came home early, and we had dinner together. My hands, still washing dishes, froze. Perhaps he thought I was bewildered by the suddenness. John grinned unpleasantly. You might not like it, but my feelings won't change. May I ask why? A huge sum of money is coming in. Do you want to know how much? $3 million. John's mouth kept moving, even though I hadn't asked anything. I've been with you because I wanted financial stability. It might have been just a drop in the bucket compared to me, but it was better than nothing, right? Now that I have $3 million, I don't need you anymore. So let's end things quickly. You must be tired of being seen as a burden. Where did all that money come from? There were many things on my mind, but I started with the question that seemed most pressing. That's none of your business. We're strangers now. Okay, I understand. Let's go our separate ways. My quick acceptance seemed to surprise John, leaving him slightly taken aback. By the way, I have no intention of staying in this small house anymore. With $3 million, I plan to live in a mansion, so I'm going to sell this house too. That's fine, I'll start looking for an apartment then. Can you handle paying off the rest of the mortgage on this house? Yeah, I'll take care of it. At least that much. It's only natural. Our situations are different now. Thank you. That would be a relief. With that settled, I sprang into action. John observed my brisk movements with a curious gaze, marking the start of busy days filled with packing and apartment hunting. Once the divorce arrangements were nearly settled, I arranged a meeting with John. I'll leave the mortgage payments to you, John. To avoid any future disagreements, I've prepared a written agreement covering all these details. Please review and sign it, I stated firmly. Fine, just don't come complaining later, John retorted, as usual adding an unnecessary remark. Irritation surged within me, but I managed to keep my composure. As John read through the divorce agreement, he suddenly halted. What's this alimony section? Why should I be paying? If anything, Emily, who doesn't work full-time, should be the one paying. You thought you could sneak this past me. How naive, he argued sharply. In response, I calmly placed several documents on the table. John's face paled as he examined the evidence. Thank you for all those late nights at work. I truly appreciate your dedication. You must really enjoy your job, John. Especially with your mistress, I remarked coolly, revealing a photo of John and a woman arm in arm, looking intimate. This woman. She's just a junior colleague. It's an innocent photo. Is this your attempt to catch me out? Do you have any more accusations? John challenged, his tone defensive. Without hesitation, I presented another photo. John and the same woman entering a hotel together. I thought this would finally break him, but he just lashed out again. This is clearly fabricated. Do you think I'm fooled by some manipulated photos? Technology can fake anything these days, John scoffed dismissively. I let out a heavy sigh. His stubbornness didn't surprise me. I had prepared for this. These aren't doctored. They'll confirm it themselves. At that moment, the doorbell rang. John looked uneasy as I went to greet our guests and led them into the living room. This is my attorney. These photos were obtained through a private detective agency. They're indisputable. If you have doubts, we can call them right now, I asserted calmly. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Counselor Emily's attorney. Going forward, all matters regarding the divorce will be handled through me. Do you have any concerns about the evidence? The attorney, Mr. Kessler, asked confidently. John began to visibly panic. It turned out John's excuse of working overtime due to business was a lie. The private detective agency revealed he was leaving work on time. His income had an increase because of this. He was spending his nights with his mistress. When his affair was exposed, everything clicked. His desire to be alone was likely to be with her. The lawyer I hired, recommended by Amy's influential father, was exceptionally skilled. Amy had described her father as a superhero, and it seemed she wasn't exaggerating. Upon learning of my situation, he promptly engaged a private detective and connected me with Mr. Kessler. Initially, I thought it excessive, but the more I learned about John's deception, the more justified my actions felt. Anger surged through me, prompting me to take decisive steps. You act as though you're doing me a favor. You want alimony? Fine, I have $3 million. I can afford it. If you're finished here, just leave. I never want to see your face again. I would have left even if you hadn't said that. If anything comes up in the future, let's handle it through our lawyers. Don't contact me directly. Why would I want to see you? John spat out these final words. Silently, I packed my belongings and left the house. If it had been anyone else but John, perhaps his words would have had more impact. But he remained true to himself until the end. How can someone be so arrogant? I pondered as I walked away from the house. I thought my tale of revenge had reached its conclusion. Then, a few months later, just as I was settling into my new life in the apartment where everything had transpired, a significant change occurred. The source of my stress was finally gone. At first, I was shocked by the divorce, of course. But I had no love left for John, so I also felt relief. Despite that, he had the audacity to show up at my new apartment. I recounted. Please listen to me. I beg you, he shouted loudly at the entrance, forcing me to reluctantly let him in. What do you want now? I've made it clear I want nothing to do with you, I said firmly. He smirked as he surveyed my apartment. You've got a nice place here for someone who left me. If there are 2 rooms, I could move into one right away. What are you talking about? There's no way I'm living with you, I retorted. Don't be so cold. We were once a couple, remember? Now, what is it you want? Don't talk like that, Emily. It's unsettling. I've come to realize I need you, Emily. You'd have a better life with me, wouldn't you? Living in a mansion with your mistress, he remarked casually. I was only with you out of necessity. I don't need to be with you anymore, I replied firmly, closing the door behind him. No, it was a moment of confusion. I need you, Emily. You're just being stubborn, John insisted, his voice wavering. Didn't you say you didn't need me anymore because of the $3 million? Why don't you find your next wife with that money? No, you've misunderstood, I replied firmly. John suddenly began to cry. The truth is, I thought I won the lottery and would get $3 million. But when I checked, the numbers were wrong. I jumped to conclusions, John confessed tearfully. I was dumbfounded. What is he talking about? I couldn't find words to respond. I was looking for a reason to leave you. That's why I misread the numbers. I thought if I had $3 million, I could divorce you and do whatever I wanted, he continued, his voice pleading. Seeing the cold look in my eyes, he hurriedly added, but please believe me, I ended things with her. From now on, I'll only love you. Let's start over. You still love me, right? What are you saying? I don't know what to think anymore. Do whatever you want, I replied, overwhelmed. I thought I was getting $3 million, so I quit my job and said terrible things to my boss. Now I can take it back. And to make matters worse, my mistress found out I had no money and stopped contacting me. It seemed John had been abandoned by his mistress. It was clear that no one would want a man who was divorced, unemployed, broke, and homeless. That's why I can't pay my loan, and I don't have anywhere to go. Emily, you're my last hope, John pleaded desperately. I've already told you, I don't know anything about that. If you don't leave now, I'll take legal action. Remember the agreement you signed during our divorce? If you break it, I'll demand 5 times the alimony. Enough is enough, John, I said firmly, my voice tinged with anger. In a moment of frustration, John raised his hand threateningly. Is that your plan? Lay a hand on me, and I'll call the police immediately. Assault charges are serious. This apartment complex has security cameras. Your face will be caught even if you run, I warned sternly. John paled at the mention of the police. Get out now, or I'll report you for trespassing. At the threat of a report, John hastily retreated. I heard a commotion that sounded like someone stumbling down the stairs, but I simply closed the door without further concern. After that day, John never returned. Later, my in-laws came to apologize. They hadn't expected things to turn out this way. When I asked about John, they explained he had fractured his leg in the fall down the stairs and had to be hospitalized for 2 months. His medical bills piled up, and with the mortgage and alimony payments to me, he was under significant financial strain. He pleaded with his former employer to let him work from home and rescind his resignation, but his abrupt departure had soured relations, leaving him without a job. My in-laws stepped in to cover the alimony temporarily, but he still faced the challenge of finding work to cover his mortgage and ongoing expenses. It was a difficult situation of his own making, I concluded, reflecting on the turn of events. After everything settled, I visited Amy's home. When I informed Amy's father that everything had been resolved, he greeted me warmly. "I've been wanting to meet you since Amy often speaks highly of you. I never imagined it would happen under these circumstances," he said sincerely. "I made a few calls, and I'm glad things worked out," I replied gratefully. "It's wonderful to see you smiling again, Emily," he remarked, his eyes reflecting relief. "She truly made a significant impact." "We're so grateful," Amy's father added, his voice filled with appreciation. "My husband looked down on me because I was a preschool teacher, but it's shaped who I am today. I've come to deeply cherish every encounter. I now love my job more than ever and am committed to doing my best," I shared, feeling a renewed sense of purpose.